Historically, for these marketers, single sourcing meant using one supplier that was the jack of all trades. So the marketers would put out RFPs that said, I need one supplier that will supply digital asset management, customer relationship management, email marketing systems, blog systems, all kinds of different systems that are complementing each other, but yet there are different core competencies of different experts in the industry. The way these suppliers, the jack of all trade suppliers, would respond to them is we can do them all. They're able to fulfill 100% of it, but that's a good short-term buying decision. There is a benefit to using specialized providers. And down the road, you'll realize that these specialized providers are investing market research in understanding that marketplace, what the demand is from any particular audience. They're also using focused development initiatives. They're using customer feedback. So they're creating a lot of customers on that platform and continuously advancing the product based on that customer feedback. Those are all things that you miss out on when you use a jack of all trades provider, because you're using a suite of products that are not necessarily all best-in-class products. Using web services integrations, you can use specialized providers in all these different categories. So look at Widen as an example. We're a software as a service provider for digital asset management services, and we use other software as a service providers, so we practice what we preach. So we use our own software as a service digital asset management system because it meets our requirements. We use a Salesforce.com CRM system because that best meets our requirements. We use ExactTarget for email marketing, same thing. We've got needs in terms of email marketing, ExactTarget's able to fill those. We use Compendium for blogware because they match our requirements when it comes to blogging. So the combination of all these specialized providers allows us to deliver a very powerful message to the marketplace. So to the user community of Widen, they can't tell that there's different applications from different companies. To them, it looks like we're just using one supplier because integration makes that possible. Since we're using specialized software as a service providers for all these different categories, they've got their own upgrade schedules. They're, again, monitoring with their own market research teams what the market's doing, what the responses from the customer base is, and then they're continuously building in new features and functionality. So while I'm focused on doing our business here at Widen Enterprises, these other providers are focused on doing what they do best and then delivering that functionality to me. So in the case where you're using a jack of all trades and you've got not so good software on some of those elements, you basically get things that are created and then they end up not being upgraded. They end up being ignored. Well, what happens when software ignores, what happens when software is ignored? It dies. And that's basically a term for legacy applications. It still meets the requirements that you specified in the RFP, but does it constantly meet your requirements? Can you go back to that supplier and say, I want to do this with your application now? And do they cringe and say, we didn't plan on doing that. That wasn't in your RFP. Well, the job of these specialized providers is we have to meet what's in your RFP, but we also have to meet down the road. Everything that you haven't asked for yet is things that we need to anticipate. Short-term wise, you can use a jack of all trades, you'll get things done. It's got a 6-month life cycle to it. So if you're out trying to optimize for the next 6 months, you can contract with a company, they'll have the full suite of products, you'll get everything that you want. That's fine. But with that 6-month time frame, or maybe that's a 12-month time frame, whatever it is, that has a life cycle. And that life cycle meets its end, now you start over. You don't want to go through this RFP process. Nobody wants you to go through this RFP process again. So make the decisions in the long term, in the best interest of the long term, not just trying to optimize your requirements at this stage of the game. In our digital asset management initiatives, we've focused on 3 areas: creative support, marketing execution, and sales enablement. So we saw marketers starting to use video more and more, and video's a sizable digital asset that would need to be managed in digital asset management systems. So Widen took a proactive stance and started to create an environment that would embrace that new video file and identify how the users want it handled. Previewing, transcoding on the fly to different formats to meet different end results. So Widen was able to respond quickly when the customer said, Widen, I've got a problem now managing all these video files. Does your digital asset management system have the ability to help us with that? And our response is, yeah, we've already planned for you to create video. We've already planned on you diversifying your digital asset portfolio, and we welcome those new assets, and here's how we're going to treat them. Now compare that scenario to the jack of all trades that you contracted. Maybe you contracted them to do a printing contract or an email marketing system or what have you. Ask them now, I need help with video. We contracted you for this service. You were able to offer other services like digital asset management. Help me now manage these video files. I've got a couple terabytes worth of data I need help managing. I want to put it online. I want you to preview it. And they'll more than likely step back and say, that's not part of your original requirements. You specified that you wanted X, Y, and Z. And video was not one of those. So we'll look to create it, but it may need a complete re-engineering of the application because we didn't expect you to want video in your digital asset management system. And that's where the jack of all trades, although meets 100% of the requirements, does not plan out to meet what you're going to want in the long term. And that's where players like Widen, Salesforce.com, ExactTarget, Compendium, all these other players are specialized in certain areas to be able to give you a look into the future, to give you the ability to come to us and ask us for certain things that we already know how to solve. We've already solved them. So let's use building or remodeling a house as an example. You employ contractors for plumbing, electricians, drywallers, painters, carpenters. You employ these specialized providers because they're experts in that subject matter. They know how to do plumbing. They know how to do electrical work. They know how to do carpentry. They're all experts in what they do. The general contractor is the web interface for the customers to go through to look at all the applications that are subject matter experts like Widen for DAM, like Salesforce.com for CRM, like ExactTarget for email marketing, like Compendium for blogware. Those are all subject matter experts connected via web services so that the customer experience is not disconnected. It's all available through one point of contact, which in this case is a web interface, all connected through a standard integration like web services.